There are a lot of standard 5-star units in this game, tend to be specific. Each of them have unique kits that you have to build a team comp around. So let's have an overview of all 5-star agents. We rank them through a tier list based on how future-proof they can be in what we know so far from this game, such as their respective kits, including a little bit of their epiphanies, synergies with current kits, and more. Let me remind you of some things before we get started in the video. This is a subjective ranking, so don't take it personally. It is based on the current CBT, old build, and things are subject to change. It will not consider dupes and signature partners and even the equipment. It will primarily be based on their current kits and current combatants that they can synergize with. This tier list has no knowledge of the endgame, like we don't exactly know how the gear system greatly impacts characters, their levels, how it plays. Will endgame show single target versus AoE? We can't consider every epiphany since this won't be a dedicated character guide video. It leans towards characters that are future-proof. Last but not least, I just want to remind you all that a large portion of you aren't subscribed to my channel, so hey, subscribe to be updated for more gacha content, guides on CZN, and maybe even more variety content. This is going to be a long yap session by yours truly, so grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's get right into the video. Okay, so we have here our tier list, and I'm just gonna say it up front. Lots of DPS here are going to be rated worse because of two main reasons. One, they are DPS. Since they are DPS, they are the ones most prone to power creep. We've seen this already in many gacha games. DPS just come and go, right? The current limited standard 5-star units have, I argue, around 6 to 9 DPS. One of them can be a sort of sub DPS. Two others can sort of fill tankish roles or deal passive damage. And there are even few 4-star DPS in the game. So what this means is that we already have a plenty of DPS in the game. Hence, the value of the DPS is overall lowered compared to like supports or tanks, because their value is now dependent on if their kit's mechanics are something unique that can be brought up by future support units or maybe sub DPS units or even DPS units, right? Anyways, we have here the rankings. Triple S is placement for a unit that you may want to consider re-rolling for. Double S is for units that are just generally good for your account. No need to re-roll, to be honest. S is units that are fine. You may want to re-roll to get better units. A rank does not mean that your units are dog shit if they land here, but they are the ones whose value I can observe that goes as low as the game goes on, right? You may want to consider re-rolling at this point. Usually these are for units that have little to no mechanics involved around them. I think their mechanics can be power prep. Not saying that other units can not get power prep, but they don't really have something that they can, bring forth over to the future, right? Okay, let's get started. But before that, here is the CZN Combatants spreadsheet by yours truly, not me. It is by the script of this YouTuber. It's by Kyoyafuyu. Come check out his spreadsheet and his YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate his spreadsheet. It has basically almost everything to be honest. Anyways, let's get started. First off is Luke, and now he's gonna show a bit about Luke's cards right here. You can just pause anytime. You've seen his cards, you can pause through them, but I'll just make this video short and quick. Luke is an A tier unit. Now, the thing about Luke is that he's a bullet-based unit. His cards have this bullet tags around them. He revolves around generating bullet cores they call zero, and they exhaust, and they can have 4 different kinds of bullet cores. You can see from here: Magnum shot, silver shot, uranium shot, tracer. His cards involve the amount of bullet cores used in turn or are currently on hand. And currently there are no limited bullet-based supports, so he may potentially pop off. What are his cons? Might not pop off early game as his cards want to crit. No draw, even through some of the epiphanies. No forms of AoE, though it can be alleviated with his brother Lucas. Gets countered really hard if future content can increase the cost of cards, because in here we have a 0 cost card. If this increases by 1 cost, it's probably not worth playing this card. Specific synergy, his brother Lucas right here. Hold up, let me search for him. Right here, bada bing bada boom, you can just pause. Basically, the best synergy with his brother Lucas, right, is this triple S card right here, which is for 1 turn increased bullet core damage, and RPG 7. When you exhaust a bullet core, deal 50 extra attack damage to all enemies. So basically, you got a form of AoE through his brother Lucas. Other units that can work with him are Hugo, Cassius, or Veronica. Cassius or Veronica for card draw. Hugo can work with him through his extra attack. Moving on, we have is Mei Lin. Let me show Mei Lin first. Mei Lin. Okay, we've seen her cards. She's also an 8 tier unit, but I think I would put her above Luke. So Mei Lin, she is a main break DPS that can also crit. Applies a lot of keywords such as attack weakness, passion weakness, ember, weak point damage. Not sure of all these effects. Blame the translation or the CBP. All I know is that these effects have to do with dealing break bar damage, dealing damage even if the enemy does not have passion weakness, or basically dealing more damage, right? She can draw her own cards and reduce their cards, basic attack, or even other units' cards. She is AP efficient in the sense that she reduces cost of cards and breaking enemies thus grant 1 action point. If you include her buff card, you can get an extra or 2. What are her downsides? She would require more draw as her kit may gain a lot of AP, her own cards can reduce the cost of cards, break can grant AP, upgrades can grant more AP. With all this amount of action points, you want to have a good hand, or basically be able to draw more cards so that you can use all these action points. Her ult, you can see right here, seems very counterintuitive as it grants 100% crit rate for 1 turn, but you still want to build crit to have consistent damage. If I were to buff her, I would say something more like maybe for 1 turn, get a critical chance of around, I don't know, 30% or even 40%, and then crit damage right here gets buffed even more. Another potential downside, she requires more skill, sequencing, combo, and when to break the unit. Specific synergy units are Selena, Cassius, or Veronica. Selena to increase tenacity damage, Cassius and Veronica for card draw. Now let's talk about Hugo. Hugo right here is our first S rank. Here's Hugo's cards. You can pause anytime if you want. He is an extra attack based unit. So basically, extra attack in this game involves a unit attacking someone through other means other than playing a card, for example, discarding, basically doing something, right? His extra attack is based on his Commence the Hunt stack. It's basically this one card right here. You have to play this no matter what. It has Outbreak of War. Basically, you draw it no matter what. Now, what's Commence the Hunt stack or CTH? If you play any other unit skill or upgrade card, unless you get the Epiphany, he gains a stack of CTH. And if you use a single targeting attack card, including his, he will do an extra attack and reduce a stack of CTH. Take note that CTH cannot be activated by extra attack, you have to use an attack card. His cards have some involvement with hunt commands. It could include drawing cards, hitting an additional time, gaining another stack of Commence the Hunt, and more and more. He has some draw in his kit, and as you all know, card draw is always supreme in this game. What are his cons? No AoE in his kit, except for maybe hitting random enemies, but that's also kind of single target. No form of AP gain at all in his kit. Specific team synergy, Nia and Selena. Nia overall just buffs extra attack and is a healer. Selena buffs the tenacity of extra attack, so Hugo's extra attack shit can also deal tenacity damage. Can also run Tressa or even Luke, since they use skill cards to generate zero cost attack cards. You can also go for Veronica and Cassius, since they can do card draw and deal attack damage, especially for Cassius. He can generate zero cost attack cards. Now, moving on the list is Renoa. Renoa is right here on S tier. Renoa is a bullet-based discard extra attack burst DPS. She generates this 1 cost bullets, and if you discard those bullets, they will randomly attack an enemy for lower damage, and the discarded bullet attack is considered an extra attack. You can see right here, Dirge Bullet. Deal damage 160% when moved to the graveyard, or it can be the exhaust pile or even the draw pile. Oh wait, the discard pile. Perform extra attack on a random enemy by 80%. Her cards involve discarding, generating even more bullets, and so on and so on. The main game plan you do with Renoa is to generate as much bullets as possible. Use the ult right here to draw all Dirge bullets from either the draw pile and graveyard pile and deal damage. And then you combine it with her Resolute Assault right here. And Resolute Assault basically discard all Dirge bullets in hand and, just deal a lot of damage. So basically a very burst DPS. Renoa counters content wherein enemies increases the cost of cards in hand because she doesn't care whether these bullets are 1 cost or 2 cost or 3 cost, just discard them. A big advantage that Renoa has over all the DPS currently for the standard banner is that she has more mechanics that she can cover. She can cover bullets, 0 cost cards, exhaust, and even discard cards. What are her potential cons? No form of card draw in build except for maybe 1 or 2 epiphanies. No form of AoE. Dirge Bullet is random. Dirge Bullet can enter your deck and just be bad cards in general in comparison to cards that can be more for, card draw and others. What are the units that you want to use for Renoa? Cassius. Cassius can do card draw and can also discard cards. Veronica can be used to draw her cards and reduce the cost. Not as potent as card in card draw as compared to Cassius. Ray for 1 or 0 cost card buffing. Mia for that extra attack archetype. Selena to buff extra attack tenacity. Orlea's double S tier. Here are Orlea's cards. You can see, you can pause. It's just up to you to pause it now. Anyways, let's talk about her. So Orlea, she is a healer, creation, preserve unit, mixed bag unit, whatever you want to call her, right? She has 2 main keywords that she can use: preserve and retain. Preserve are cards that activate effect while they are still in hand, whereas retain are cards that will stay in hand no matter what as long as you don't play them. She has a card that basically activates all preserve effects in hand, including other units cards, which is very powerful. It's called Will of Light right here. She is a unit that wants to prolong the endgame by preserving cards and creating 0 cost monstrosities that also evolves at least 2 times. So as you can see from here, 3 types of monsters. You have Softy, which increases damage dealt, increases next damage attack card, good for burst. Swifty is a big burst damage card that basically increases the damage multiplier or maybe damage bonus, not so sure. And we have Tuffy here. Tuffy can shield and can heal while in hand. I think her epiphanies or cards just involve either creating a specific monster, increasing damage, more healing, so she's kind of a mixed bag. What are her potential downsides? Cons are that heals are not preferable over shields currently in this game, because if you take damage, stress builds up. Whereas compared to shields can just block the damage. May not be great in the early game or early rounds since she requires a lot of build up. She does not have any form of draw at all. She does not reduce the cost of cards. Anti-synergy with discard-oriented units, you lose out on preserve effect. You don't want to miss out on buffing the preserve effect cards no matter what. She gets hard countered by enemies that can disrupt or discard your hand. Specific synergies, it's simple. It has to be Beryl right here. Where is she? I'll just say that Beryl right here, this fucking short stack, has a lot of cards that involve preserving. Veronica is another double S tier unit. Let's see where's Veronica. See, bada bing bada boom, you can see her cards right here. She is an extra attack sub DPS that passively deals damage through her unusable ballista cards. These ballista cards are not considered as bullet cards, and they can also do AoE crit chance, but they're not really, they're just random. They're considered unusable. They have ethereal and the unplayable keyword, meaning that they'll discard at the end of turn, but she does have a keyword right here at the end of the turn, basically deal damage, right? She has this reload mechanic, basically increasing ballista damage by 20%, and when ballista is activated, reduce reload by 1, so this can go up to 60% ballista damage. She has good card draw, draws other combatants' cards, and even reduce their cost through epiphanies. She has 2 cards that are automatically upgrades right here, which is Firing Preparation and Ready Bombardment, and even Pendant of Resolution. So basically 3 cards, and if you played these 3 upgrade cards, they automatically are removed from your deck for the duration of the round, right? Basically less filler cards in your deck. Overall, drawing more of your, favored cards of the DPS as such. She can also work with units that want as much cards in hand as possible. Now, what are her potential downsides? Number 1, her sub DPS potential is low because her ballista generation is low as fuck. At minimum or at worst, you can get up to 1 ballista cord or maybe even 2. Best is maybe 3 or 4 if you can get like a copy of an extra cord and others. Ballista randomly targets an enemy, so she's not good when it comes to AoE, and her basic cord proficiency right here just sucks in general. It's 20% chance to generate a ballista cord. This should just be guaranteed, and even if it's guaranteed, right, you might not even play it since you want to play your DPS's more important cards. She has anti-synergy with any cards involving shuffling or discarding because you don't want this ballista cards to enter your draw pile. They have to be activated no matter what, or else you're just gonna draw a dead card in hand. Units that want her, basically any selfish DPS in the game, or any DPS that may lack card draw, or any support unit that can have to do with extra attack, because this bullets right here, or I mean ballista cards, they deal extra attack damage. So basically almost everyone, Rin, Renoa, Selena, Kayron, everyone, that's how good she is. She can also be good with Khalipe because Khalipe has AoE cards. It makes or reduces the RNG of Veronica's single target cards as long as the AoE of Khalipe kills the enemies, right? Okay, Kayron right here. Kayron is also a double S tier unit. Look at the cards right here. Bada bing, bada boom. Done. Kayron is a very unique DPS. He's an exhaust-based DPS unit. He generates these void cards that are considered useless and can be exhausted upon use. But his upgrade card can change this void cards into something else. It could be cord that can heal, it can be something that can deal damage, or it can even be costed to 0. His cards gain effect based on the amount of banished cards in the game, and the amount of banished cards, it can, reduce the cost of some of his cards, increase the damage, increases damage multiplier, and so on. Banished cards also count as exhaust cards. That's very important to note. He has good single target and AoE multipliers. You can change the nature of your cards to either focus on either single target or AoE. That puts him very high on the list. He's very flexible. Being an AoE or having access to AoE gives him an edge over other DPS. What are his potential cons? His damage will only get going once he gets enough banished cards, so he's more of a late round DPS. He has no form of draw in his kit at all, except maybe of 1 or 2 epiphanies, I'm not sure. Now, what are the units that synergize with Kayron? It is Ray and Cassius. Ray can exhaust cards and buff void damage. Cassius creates exhaust cards, they should also count for vanish, and is able to draw cards. He can also work with Veronica because Veronica's ballista cards can also exhaust. You can also run him with Tressa because Tressa can generate exhaust cards. Overall, any unit that has exhaust, therefore landing him on the double S tier spot. Okay, let's now talk about Magna. Magna is another double S tier unit. Magna, you can see her cards right here, bada bing, bada boom. She is a counter-based DPS slash bruiser slash defender that is also defense scaling. Her counter can get enhanced if enemy attack does not damage your health. She has lots of shield cards right here. You can see she also has a form of AoE counter. And for roguelikes, she is comfortable as she deals passive damage just for merely shielding, right? Now, what are her potential cons? She is first off a defense scaling unit, and while we haven't seen the endgame, she might not scale as high as attack scaling DPS in the endgame. She's weak to time-based content, weak against enemies that increases damage over time. They might pierce through your shield. It's easy to counter shielders in the game, such as piercing damage. And she is weak against enemies that do not counterattack since they lower her damage potential. Units that synergize with her, basically every defense-based unit or units that can generate shield, so she can land more enhanced counters. Moving on the list is Khalipe. Now Khalipe here, as you've seen in other tier list of every other YouTuber, triple S tier. Here are Khalipe's cards, bada bing, bada boom, you can just pause. Defense-based unit, and she has the celestial keyword. Basically, she wants to use 2 cost cards, so very heavy in cost. And celestial, basically, if you play a 2 cost card right here, you activate the effect of the card while it's still in hand. She prefers cards with more than 2 cost, and this unit is very AoE, AoE, AoE. All her cards are AoE except for 1 or 2 cards, right? Her main mechanic revolves on Vulture Ejection and this Silver Veil buff. She gains Silver Veil when Vulture Ejection is activated, so you can just play a 2 cost card and Vulture Ejection will just drop. And once you get 3 Silver Veils, she'll get a Vulture Launch Plus cord, and this one is another AoE cord. She has some good cord draw. She can even retrieve cords, get them. She has a specific way of getting her cords, like right here, Rally, and even Greatsword Aquila. She has a cord, I think, which deals tenacity damage and AoE, so she can gain a lot of action points from breaking enemies, especially in AoE content. Now, what are her potential downsides? She can be nerfed in the game. She has 3 cores for sustain, making her sustain capabilities not as potent as, let's say, compared to Magna, Orlea, or even Maribel. May need AP efficient units or get AP gain effects. Her 2-cost cord playstyle can make your play awkward because you have other 2-cost cards or maybe 1-cost cards that you want to use. She's a defense scaling unit, so might not scale as hard as attack scaling units in the endgame. May not scale as hard in single target content because all her cards are AoE except for these 2 basic attack cards right here. Now, what's her synergy? Basically any defense unit. Mika for AP gain, Veronica for card draw and single target damage. Last onto the list, this is the part where I'm gonna get shit on a lot. Rin is an A tier unit. Her cards are right here, bada bing, bada boom. She has a hyper carry style DPS. Her mechanic revolves around this Dark Cloud stance. Now, correct me if I am wrong, this Dark Cloud stance can retain as long as another combatant's attack cord is not used, and Dark Cloud will be gone after her current turn ends. Now, what does Dark Cloud stance do? So while you're in this stance, you activate Rin's own personal cards that have this Dark Cloud Blade Orc, and the effects of her cards can do a lot of things. Increase the damage, get more damage multiplier, increase the hit count, reduce cost of cards, draw even more cards, all that shit, right? She excels in single target content as all cards in her kit do single target. She even has a big hitting damage card which requires a skill right here. Dark Cloud, Arcane Art, Black Mist with around a 900% multiplier. She has good card draw too, really good for a selfish DPS unit. Now, what are her potential cons and why I ranked her lower in the list? Number 1, she's a selfish DPS and her stance has no synergy with any other mechanics in the game. Her mechanic, like, let's say she's like the opposite of Renoa. Renoa can gain buffs from other future units that involve, you know, bullet, discard what else? Bullet, discard, extra attack. But Rin, she doesn't have any of that. No specific keyword that can be brought into the future. Unless this Dark Cloud Blade Orc is gonna be an actual mechanic in the game that can be seen from other units. From what I'm seeing, it's really not gonna happen. While limited 5-star supports would come in the future that can mega buff Rin, it would most likely benefit others better. And this also includes just general support units, right? She has no form of AoE and kit, requires sequencing and combo and managing the stance mechanic. It would be very awkward if you have a cord that you want to use was an attack cord. She would not prefer units that would use attack cord, so overall lesser teammate options. Another huge downside is that, yeah, while she's hot and she's like a katana or sword wielding DPS, there are future limited units coming out in the future that wield swords, such as Chizuru and Yuki. So yeah, you can see from here, this is the tier list. What do you guys think about this ranking? Do you agree, disagree, do you hate me now? Well, you can just leave in the comment section below. Just take note that these units can be buffed in the future, so because it's based on the CPT, right? And I want to reiterate that you should not take this tier list personally, especially since I know for a fact that there are a lot of fans for Rin right here, right? Maybe I should make a tier list for, like, you know, the personal units I want to pull for personal, right? With that comes the end of today's video. Make sure to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.